Well, hi there guys, Matt Dawson here from the Inspire Music School Teaching Studio, and today I'm talking about picking. That's right, using the plectrum, the backbone of our playing. Now this is something that a lot of people struggle with at first, but stick with me guys, I'm going to be giving you some really useful tips that hopefully you guys can implement into your playing and take your playing from 0 to 100 miles an hour like that. Okay, so when I'm meeting students for maybe for the first time, and maybe certain students have played before, and they come to me and they say, well, I can play this little tune. And what they'll often do is, if I've given them a plectrum, they immediately put the plectrum down and they start kind of twanging away with their thumb, or they start picking with their finger, okay? Now, that is kind of a natural thing for most players to start doing, mainly because you were born with these before you ever came into contact with one of these. When I meet students, playing with a plectrum just isn't the natural thing to do. Now, one of the things that I ask each student when I meet them is, what do you want to be able to do? And what a lot of them say is, I want to be able to play this riff or this song or strum this chord progression. I say, okay, well, the first things first, we need to get you playing with a plectrum. If the pick is too bendy, you've not got enough attack on the strings. And if there isn't enough attack on the strings, it's going to jack your technique right up. So what I say, I mean, this is a jazz plectrum, but you can go into any store or go online and order, Dunlop picks. I tend to recommend, or an equivalent. But if you go into a store particularly, you can pick the pick up and you can bend it. And you're not looking to snap it, but if you can bend it and there's quite a bit of resistance there, that's going to be a very solid pick to start with. Now, the other thing, once you've got yourself a solid pick, you want to be looking at how you're holding it. Now, first things first, I give the student a pick and I go, there you go, show me how you're holding it. And they kind of go, well, in my hand. And I'm like, well, yeah, obviously, smart ass, in your hand, yes. But it's how we hold it in our hand. So what I see some people doing is they'll kind of grip their pick like that, or like that, or they'll kind of do a combination of that. There's lots of different variations. Index finger and thumb. That's going to be the best combination to use for a couple of different reasons. So literally, if I'm holding a plectrum, I want to hold it between my index finger and my thumb. Okay, this is actually the most coordinated finger that you've got on your entire hand. Okay, if you were to lose this finger, you would really struggle. Okay, we use this finger for quite a lot, from holding pens and pencils to knives and forks when we're feeding ourselves, even when we're just typing and things like that nowadays with modern technology. If you were to lose your little finger, you would notice it, but you would be able to function without it. You'd be able to write, you'd be able to grip things quite well. You would find that you're still able to do quite a lot of things. With the index finger in particular, and our thumb, is really important to us, okay, for just functionality. So between index finger and thumb. And what a lot of people tend to do once they're doing that is they notice they've not got a lot of grip on the pick. So what they'll naturally do is squeeze the pick as hard as they can. If they're squeezing the pick as hard as they can, they'll notice that they're attacking the strings too hard. It's almost like pushing yourself through a stiff door, or maybe a semi-automatic door, whereby once it hits a certain point it flings open. You'll be kind of picking down on the string, and then eventually you'll burst through that string and kind of clip a few more. So your accuracy is out. Also, it's not gonna sound very nice, okay? So instead of a plucking, you kind of want to be going for more of a brushing type motion, okay? So again, nice thick pick, or nice heavy duty pick that isn't very bendy, and gripping between these two fingers, okay? And not holding it too hard. And instead of plucking the strings, where you're going twang, 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 we are literally just brushing the strings with our pick, okay? And in order to do that, I obviously don't want to be holding the pick right on the end. I want to be holding it sort of towards the middle. The scenario I tend to give to our students, especially like my children's students, is if you've ever been to the fun fair and you've got to do that kind of game where you've got to hook the duck. You've got to stand ages away from where the ducks actually are. You've got the big rod with the hook on the end. You've got to hook the duck. If that rod was really short and you could just walk up to it and go, hook, got the duck, it would be a really easy contest. The difficult part of that is you've got to stand really far away with this big pole and try and hook the duck, okay? When you hold your pick right at the edge, you can't control it. Okay, you cannot control that pick very well. Okay, so the more we hold on to it, we don't want to hold it so that there's no pick coming through, but we don't want to have it where it's kind of like nearly falling through our fingers, okay? We want to make sure that we've got a decent grip, we're covering most of it, but we've got control. Now what you will find is you'll find that when you're picking, your pick may spin, okay? Now this will go away after a while. Your hand is actually learning to hold the plectrum. So the more you play with that plectrum, the easier it's going to be, and the less that will actually happen. I remember from back when I was first starting to learn to play the guitar, I'd play a song and I was almost like kind of gripping onto the edge of this like runaway train when it came to my picking, because the pick would kind of spin and spin and spin and spin and spin, and eventually I'd be playing this song and I'd be thinking, I'm actually going to run out of plectrum soon. I'm not going to have any plectrum left, and I'm going to be kind of playing with my fingers in a second, because I'm literally, the pick is spinning right the way around, and in some cases I even dropped it. Don't worry about that. That will happen less and less and less. But what's really, really important is that you're not holding the pick too hard and you're not using the wrong fingers. You may see videos of people, I know a lot of people use like a Hetfield as an example, like James Hetfield from Metallica. You see him kind of holding the pick at different angles. He's kind of got this sort of thing going on. That he would be an exception to the rule. And what I would tend to find is, don't go by the exceptions when it comes to learning the guitar. Go by what is working across the board. There are more people in the world that are using a certain technique or that are demonstrating a certain thing when it comes to playing the guitar than maybe the 1 or 2 people in your iTunes library or your Spotify playlist that are able to pull this technique off, maybe kind of in their own sort of way. You want to be doing things best practice first. So 3 things to think about. Pick, make sure it's a nice thick one that doesn't bend too much. Make sure you're using the right fingers, okay? So I would always recommend first and thumb, and we're holding it kind of at a decent position. And make sure that we're not plucking the strings too hard. You want to make sure that you're kind of picking them relatively, not so gently that you're not making any sound, but it's more of a brushing technique. And if you've got a decent thick pick, you'll tend to find that there'll be a decent attack on the strings, so you won't need to like force your finger through the strings. It's like if you had a really flexible pick, you tend to find that you have to pick almost slightly harder because there's more give in the pick as it hits the strings. Well, thanks for watching, guys. Hope that's been helpful for you. Please leave a comment in the comment section below, and if there is anything that you think, how do we do this or how do I do that when it comes to guitar playing, please let me know and I'll try and cover it in a future video.